Hello everyone and welcome to my presentation about cross-lingual transfer learning with Persian. I'm going to talk about introduction of this research, the background, post-tagging and sentiment analysis, which are the two NLP tasks that we consider in our paper. Transfer learning, and to be more specific, cross-lingual transfer learning is used in low-resource settings where we have a low-resource language that we don't have enough tag data for. So we use a source language that we have data for to train or fine-tune a model, and then we test it with the target language or the low-resource language. English is mainly used as the source language simply because there is enough data for English in various tasks. But recent studies have shown that language similarity can play a role and has a positive impact on the performance of model for the post-tagging task. We were interested to explore if Persian can be beneficial for any other languages. Persian is the official language of Iran, and also it is talked in Afghanistan and Tajikistan. It's an Indo-European language. The Persian language has 32 letters and it has the SOV word order, and more than 85 million around the world talk Persian. Now I want to talk about the research questions that we have. First, we wanted to see if language similarity in the case of Persian can be beneficial for the performance of the model for task of post-tagging. Then we were interested to see what are the linguistic features of the matching languages in this case. And we wanted to compare the performance of ParseBERT, the Persian BERT, with XML Roberta, a pre-trained multilingual model. And then we wanted to go one step further and consider another task, which is sentiment analysis, to see if the languages in post-tagging and sentiment analysis are the same or not. About the background, I want to talk about the LDND distance measure, which is the language similarity metric that we use in this work and is based on Leveshtein distance. Also, the main motivating paper of this work is the work of De Vries et al. And they use the LDND distance measure as the language similarity metric, and they do an extensive study to find the optimal good pairs of languages and find out whether there are success factors in this case. And they use the XML Roberta for their experiments. They find out that there is no source language that is globally good for all target languages, but they find some success factors. For example, if the target is included in the pre-training of the model, and the second one is the LDND distance measure. The post-tagging task that we consider and we analyze in this study, we actually use the result of the experiment of the work that I just talked about. They use the universal dependencies dataset, which has 17 tags for different post tags, and they have 65 source languages and 105 target languages. They use the pre-trained XML Roberta language model, pre-trained uncommon crawl data. They fine-tune this language model and with different source languages, and then test it with different target languages. We use the accuracy score and the LDND distance reported by them, but specifically for Persian language as source or the target language. When Persian is the target language, it seems that Persian is enough for itself, and it achieves the highest accuracy of 91.43 among other source languages. And it seems that Persian is enough for itself because with all the other source languages, the accuracy drops to 80%. However, when Persian is the source language, we find out there are 11 languages that have Persian as one of their top 10 source languages, and 6 of these 11 languages are low-resource target languages. And among them, we find out Tagalog and Kurmanji, which is very interesting for us. They have the highest accuracy of 78.9, and it is interesting that Persian has the lowest LDND distance with these languages among other source languages that appear on top of the list for these two raw resource languages. So we propose that probably Persian can be a potential good source language for these two low resource languages in other tasks. We also explored to see if there is any relation between LDND distance and the accuracy score for the case of Persian, but we find out that when the LDND distance is quite similar, 89 and 91, we have a very different accuracy score of 35 and 84 for Sanskrit and Marathi. So we thought maybe LDND distance is not a good representative of the distance between languages, and we decided to use the WALS linguistic features and consider the number of common features between Persian and other languages as a distance measure. Surprisingly, Tagalog, as a low-resource language, has 145 features listed in this dataset, which is a high number for a low-resource language, and it's sharing about 1/3 of its features with Persian. Another interesting fact is that Kurmanji is sharing almost all of its features in this dataset with Persian, 10 out of 12 features that is listed for this language. We checked the features that are shared between languages, and most of these features are syntactic features like SOV and the noun compounds and so on. And then we also find a cluster or a group of languages, Persian, Hindi, Urdu, and Bhojpuri, which share the most features among themselves, 15 features between all of them. In our experiments with ParseBird, the Persian bird, we see that only Persian is achieving a higher score compared to XML Roberta in this case. And when we have the other target languages, then the accuracy drops for ParseBird compared to XML Roberta. Now we reach to the sentiment analysis, and we are interested to see if the results we found in post-tagging can be generalizable to any other task, and we do experiments with sentiment analysis in the beginning. The main challenge we have is data collection, because there is not such big data sets such as universal dependencies for post-tagging in sentiment analysis, and we gather data from various resources for 31 languages, and it is published on the Hugging Face for further access. The results of our experiments with Persian in sentiment analysis show that when we fine-tune the model with Persian language and then we test it with other languages, it shows that Persian is not the most, doesn't have the highest accuracy, and in comparison, however, Slovak has the highest accuracy, which was unexpected in this case. But we can see overall, the languages have a higher precision than recall, which means that the language is not labeling negative classes as positive in this case. Now we reach to the conclusion of this work. So we found out that the monolingual Persian experiment achieves the highest accuracy among other source languages for Persian as target, achieving 91.43% for post-tagging, and Persian is the best for itself. Then we proposed that Persian can be a good potential source language for Kurmanji and Tagalog, because we saw that it has the least LDND distance with these languages, and also we checked the WALS linguistic dataset, and they were sharing a lot of features among themselves. And then our experiments with ParseBird shows that ParseBird can only outperform XML Roberta, the multilingual model, only when we have the Persian for fine-tuning and for testing the monolingual experiment, which achieves 96%, which is higher than the multilingual model of 91%. And then the monolingual Persian experiment for sentiment analysis was not the best experiment, and Slovak had the highest accuracy. And then the overall conclusion of this work is that cross-lingual transfer learning with Persian, it is task dependent and it depends on the task. And of course, we need more data for the sentiment analysis. These are the references of our work. Thank you so much for your attention. If you have any questions, you can reach us at this email address.